This week, Minecraft fixed one of the oldest bugs that is in the game, as well as introducing a brand new panorama or menu screen for Minecraft, as well as fixing / changing the Java Edition logo. They are really getting into the end game phases of Minecraft 1.20, and today let's talk about what that means for the release date, as well as what exactly is inside here, because I love this new panorama. I mean, look at the sun over there, isn't that beautiful? Wow, I love the cherry blossom that's just found everywhere. I like the way this sky is an absolutely beautiful one, and honestly, Minecraft has this great thing where every new update represents a new era for the game, and this new menu screen is a definitely good one for that. I honestly do think this is one of those great improvements. Every year we have something new to look at, and this is the rough look as to what you're going to be seeing. It will be slightly different on Bedrock. Indeed, they've been doing a whole different thing this week, but let's talk first about Java and the other weird things they've been up to. Because this is Snapshot 23W14A. It's called that because it's the first snapshot in the 14th week. Oh my god, is it really the 14th week of 2023 already? Yes, it is, and in this update, again, for the Bedrock beta, it's mostly been bug fixes, and indeed, that's been true for Java too, including that super old one, but they've also done a few other relatively small changes, such as changing the calibrated skulk sensor. So this is found in the redstone tab alongside the skulk sensor, you might already realize, but there's an interesting other thing they've added there, we'll talk about in a second, but the calibrated skulk sensor now has a few buffs since they introduced it a couple of weeks ago. One of these is the fact that it has a cooldown timer of 1 second, so you'll spot that right here. We can activate it every second rather than every 2 seconds, so they've doubled the speed of that, and they've also doubled the distance that it can travel. Which means that this calibrated skulk sensor will detect me from 16 blocks away rather than 8, which is actually pretty huge when you look at it like this. Look at the distance that I can transfer from this to the calibrated skulk sensor, which will then go all the way to my other skulk sensor over there. It's so far away you can barely see it. I mean, if you have poor eyesight at least. And yeah, one of the other things you'll notice if you have poor eyesight, or won't have noticed, is they've also added the Skulk Shrieker to the redstone block menu. This is a really weird thing to add there, although because it's worth mentioning that the Skulk Shrieker was technically a redstone item for a little bit way back when. The truth is they've mostly removed all of the redstone functionality. You can't measure the Skulk Shrieker's redstone, you can't put a redstone signal in it to activate it, and as best I can tell, its redstone function is mostly in being a way to detect players, because when these initially exist in your world, they're warden spawners. If you go near them 4 times in a row, they spawn a warden. However, after you place them down manually, whether that's by silk touching or in creative even, then what will happen is it will detect when there's a player above it, but nothing else. A skulk sensor will always detect other things as well, and so if you want to have a player-specific detector, this is your thing. However, if you look at the Skulk Shrieker and you say, oh god, that noise, take it away from me, then maybe you'd love to know that you can waterlog the Skulk Shrieker now. This is pretty cool by itself. I mean, wow, look at it, doesn't it look fun? But if you waterlog it, you'll be able to notice there is no sound. There is just this effect, which I'm sure can be, I don't know, turned into some skulk sensory something if you want to. There is now a way to get the player detecting, at least vibrations, without having to have the, the noise that comes along with it. And personally, as someone who hates bad noises, you know, I am IBX Toy Cat, so I hate loud, unexpected noises. I love, beyond all belief, being able to silence the Skulk Shrieker, although personally, I don't think I'm ever going to use it in that redstone way, but I do love that I do love that they've done something to it, and I think it's a bit weird to see it here in the redstone tab, something obviously we're immune from on the Bedrock edition, because there is no redstone tab. There aren't tabs for most things on Bedrock. We have 4 tabs, and that's enough, damn it. Speaking of tabs, it's worth keeping tabs on the fact that there's a new Minecraft logo, and it's pretty controversial. I mean, the new background screen is pretty well received. Everyone loves watching this go by. But when it comes to the new logo, there's a lot more controversy. But something which isn't controversial and easier to mention first, before we dive into that, it should be mentioned that, wow, can you see we have some new bugs fixed? Most of this update was not about introducing the brand new redstone tab. Most of this update was not about, making slight changes to things, but instead was about bug fixes, and most of these bug fixes are ones you can immediately look at and spot as bug fixes. So they fixed the hopper texture, for example, in a way that probably isn't very obvious to you that it was broken, but when you see it side by side, you're like, yeah, I guess the old hopper texture was broken. As another example, you might know that they, if you look on there, sniffers weren't always they weren't always breeding with each other, even though they're in love mode. Or to put it specifically, sniffers were, being in love mode, but weren't approaching each other to breed. This is a funny bug fix because it's a useful piece of advice for the real world. Just remember, if there's someone in the real world that cares about you and you think they're just not in love mode with you because they haven't approached you to breed, maybe they are in love mode with you, but they just don't know that you're also in love mode with them and you just need to approach them to breed. And what's the worst they can do? Say no? Call the police? Probably that second one. But yeah, this is something they have changed about sniffers. They will now breed more reliably, which is always a good thing. I mean, looking at the size of these guys, do you really need a third one of them? I mean, do I need a second one of them? He's already crowding out the villagers in there. Speaking of things I'm not sure I need a second one of, Minecraft bugs being fixed is a really cool thing, and so the bug I just mentioned was like 234,000, i.e. it was the 234,000 found bug that was in Minecraft, and that's pretty interesting by itself. However, let me share with you something interesting, which is they fixed one of the first 2,500 bugs. And this is a bug so old you genuinely might not spot it as a bug. So again, most bug fixes are not very sexy and exciting, but this one is such an old bug fix, it genuinely will seem like it's a feature to most people. So this is an enchantment table, and what do you use to make it work? Bookshelves, right? So how does that work? Well, the number of bookshelves around the enchantment table determines the levels you get. At this level, when I put an axe in there or a shovel, I get 1, 2, and 4 as my options. Put some bookshelves down, and those options go up from 1, 2, 4 to, what is it, in this case, 4, 7, 12. And so something interesting that would happen in Minecraft previously was that if you put any blocks between you and the enchantment table, it will block those levels from coming through, so it's back as if there were no bookshelves there, because obviously it can't go through solid blocks. However, something that we always just assumed was part of that was transparent blocks, such as glass is a great example. They obviously have the exact same treatment right now, but after Minecraft 1.20, at least after this particular snapshot for it, you can see that those enchantment particles will still be able to go through the glass. I mean, apparently not. Wait, no, do you want to know what's weirder? I assumed, because they said this bug was fixed, that you could now get the levels. However, according to the comment on the Mojang bug page, it's called the Gyra page, basically this is something where they said part of this is working as intended, but they do intend to fix it later, which is weird to show that it's a fixed bug when it's not quite fixed. It's just they've confirmed that it is a bug and it is going to be fixed. But that doesn't actually mean anything. So like, apparently, one of the most exciting things about this was they fixed this, but they haven't actually done the fixing yet. They've just confirmed they're going to be fixing it. So soon, you'll be able to have glass between yourself and enchantment tables. Better build them right now and be ready for the changes that are coming. That's a really odd one. I've never seen that with a bug before, that they put it on the changelog as if it's fixed, but it's not actually quite fixed in actuality. But yeah, I don't know, something weird to you maybe. Speaking of things that are weird, I think it also should be mentioned that there is a brand new menu screen, and this is pretty weird because this is something we usually only see towards the end of Minecraft updates. So let's look at it one more time, because honestly, I do think as far as background panoramas go, it's not my favorite, but I do love the cherry blossom biome, so it has a sweet spot on me. That lovely sunset in there, it's super great by itself. However, they also have a brand new logo, and this logo looks a lot more like the Bedrock Edition's logo. Obviously, the weird thing here is that Minecraft Java Edition says Minecraft Java right up here, whereas Bedrock doesn't say Minecraft Bedrock Edition, it just says Minecraft. But they have changed the logo, and whenever there's a tiny cosmetic change like this, there's always people who are like, I don't like the change, take it back to how it was. And ultimately, it's Java, so you can just resource pack your way back in. I mean, like 20% of Minecraft Java players aren't even playing the latest update. It's really easy to downgrade if you want to, but I think it's one of those like easy controversies to say like, yeah, it's easy to dislike change, and if you do dislike change, then you can just not go with the changes. But also, speaking of things that you don't have to go with, I think it also should be worth mentioning, at least a little bit here, that yeah, Minecraft Java Edition, which is not linear, is going very close to the end of its development, because we're seeing this new panorama. This is something we see way towards the end of snapshots, and we're also getting very close to that expected June release date. The fact that they've moved on to mostly bug fixing, the Bedrock beta / preview was 100% bug fixes, tells me we can expect to see this update a lot sooner than you might otherwise expect, which as far as I can see it is very good news. I think that there's been a lot of fear that like, is this going to be delayed? A lot of things in this update have been delayed. I think this update has been going very well and according to plan the entire way through. I think they got the announcements right, and I think the level of content we're seeing should be possible to release in June like planned. However, here's the fun thing about Minecraft. By not setting release dates, again, we can predict it's a June release date because they try to release updates in the first week of June if they can. Although although we can very easily say that they want to release it in June, the truth is they're going to keep working on fixing these bugs, like enchantment tables apparently, or sniffers not breeding, or, you know, camels, all these weird minor bug fixes. They're going to keep working on these week after week until they're happy with how the update is released, because otherwise what happens, they could release the update right now, we'd get all the features, but then all the bugs would pile up and they'd be pressured to work on new things rather than bugs. And I think it is a smart thing to do to spend some of this time making sure the update that we can play is bug fixed, because most Minecraft players don't know about the fact that, like, you know, won't know or care about the fact that, yeah, they got it out faster by not doing bug fixes. Most players would find it upsetting that, like, wait, why is it that my sniffers aren't breeding together? I'm giving him the torchflower seeds, what more could I do for him? And I feel like that is something that's worth considering, at least a little bit. Also, this is like the weirdest looking mob. I really can't believe this is a real thing coming to Minecraft. Why did we have to do that, guys? You know, speaking of things we didn't have to do, I want to just quickly give you an update. I am, in fact, back in the United States. Wait, how can you tell I'm back in the US? Wow, I'm glad you asked. It's the Americow. There he is. But if you see the cow in the background, you see that US flag I bought for $1. It might have been $1.25 at the Dollarama. Wow, price is so high these days, am I right? But if you're curious, then that's how you can tell I'm in America. And yeah, I've got a setup right now, which I posted on Twitter just to be funny, and a lot of people are like, yeah, this is like one of the saddest things I've seen, but it's very minimalist. And if you want to see a little bit more, actually, wait. So here's what you look like to here's what I look like to you. But let me just do a switcheroo. Wow. Whoa. I just want to show you something because this is really silly. So I usually, while I'm here, I'm streaming off a laptop. It's very, trying to do a lot of work from a laptop. Bad idea if you're a content creator, by the way. But yeah, basically, I only have one console, which I brought with me from the UK. And so I also need to be able to watch TV or whatever else on there. And so what do? This very long, very unnecessary HDMI cable allows me to use just one console for the entire thing. But yeah, if you want to see my apartment, it's definitely in tip-top condition. And if you want to see a life update towards that, well, you can't, because this is maybe a separate video. People are just here to be about 1.20, and if you want to know when that's coming out, the answer is still looks like early June, which is very good news. Yeah, I hope that we see more bug fixes, and I hope that you have a very good day, and I look forward to seeing you for my first stream back tomorrow. Goodbye.